See who was crowned homecoming queen, and a former MSU player returns for the homecoming game but plays on the opposing team. Find out who that player is coming up right here on Take 30 News.
Keeping our state informed. Broadcasting from the home of the Bulldogs. Now, from the University Television Studios of Mississippi State University, this is Take 30 News.
3 cities in Mississippi will soon be getting recognized on the Discovery Channel as being the best of Mississippi. We will tell you which cities they are later on the show. I'm Heather Black.
And I'm Kelsey Jones. A 7-year-old girl goes missing Saturday evening in Oklahoma. This is our top story. On Saturday evening, an Amber Alert was issued by the police to the entire state of Oklahoma. 7-year-old girl Lacey Studman was pulled into a car by an unknown man. Studman was wearing blue jeans, a light blue tie-dye shirt, and a blue sweatshirt with the Old Navy logo across the front. She was last seen in Ardmore, Oklahoma in a silver Chrysler PT Cruiser. The abductor is described as a skinny, tall white man with straight, short hair. If you have any information on the case, please contact your local authorities.
The woman who went missing on Sunday was found alive in Maryland on Wednesday. 22-year-old Carlisha Freeland Gaither was found at a park in a parked car surrounded by explosives, firearms, and alcohol, according to the Maryland authorities. The abductor, 37-year-old Delvin Barnes, was arrested on the scene. Freeland Gaither is said to be in good shape, but there has not been a chance to get an interview with the abductee. Barnes is being held for an outstanding attempted capital murder on a charge issued beforehand in Virginia and is expected to face the charges for the abduction once the investigation on the situation is complete. The investigators on the case say that there is no evidence to prove Barnes knew his victim before the attack.
The story, now named The American Horror Story, is that of 3-year-old Scott McMillan. The toddler was beaten and tortured to death over a course of 3 days by his mother and her live-in boyfriend, 30-year-old Jillian Tate, and 23-year-old Gary Fellenbaum fatally beat the child with a homemade whip, punched him in the stomach and face, and hit him with a rod as he was tied to a chair. The couple also tied him upside down as they beat him and continuously pushed his head through a wall because the toddler did not want to eat his breakfast. After the beating, Tate and Fellenbaum went out and left the toddler unconscious and dying. The district's attorney office says that they are seeking the death penalty for these two.
The case of a murdered family has now been solved. Charles Chase Merritt is charged with 4 counts of murder in the deaths of Joseph and Summer McStay and their 2 little boys, Gianni and Joseph Jr. The family's bodies were found in shallow graves in the Mojave Desert. Officials say the family died of blunt force trauma inside their home. However, when they first searched the family's home days after their disappearance, they found eggs on the counter and bowls of popcorn in the living room. There were no signs of a struggle. Charles Merritt's arraignment is scheduled for Wednesday. No bail has yet been set.
On Friday, an Ohio man working at a bowling alley was crushed to death. 53-year-old David Geiger was entangled in a pin setting machine he was trying to repair. He died of traumatic asphyxia and his death was ruled accidental. This freak accident at Northwest Lanes caused an investigation by the Occupational Safety and Health Administration. Reporters say there were other bowlers and employees there during the accident, but no one knew what was happening.
2 Americans released from detainment are now back on U.S. soil. Kenneth Bay and Matthew Todd Miller were released from prison in North Korea and arrived back in the U.S. Saturday night. Leader Kim Jong-un ordered their release after James Clapper, Director of National Intelligence, went to the country as an envoy for President Obama. Kenneth Bay was detained in April of 2012 for allegedly planning to bring down the government through religious activities. Miller, however, was detained in April of this year for tearing up his tourist visa and seeking asylum upon entering the country. The Miller family has not made a public comment, and he did not speak to reporters.
Local veterans have now access to health care and special benefits right here on Mississippi State University's campus. Last week, the university, along with the U.S. Veterans Health Administration and the state's VA Medical Center, announced that new services for Golden Triangle veterans and student veterans. Services will offer physical therapy as well as occupational and speech therapy. Mental health services will also be provided, and this new health care will help veterans cut down on travel because the nearest health care facilities for veterans is in Jackson and Tuscaloosa. This program is the first of its kind in the nation.
Stay tuned because you don't want to miss what Nikki Ariana's update on college football right here on Take 30 News.
Based on recent survey, Mississippi is ranked third as worst state when it comes to littering.
Hey!
It is up to you to make a difference.
Seriously, the trash can's right there. How do you miss that anyway?
Do what's right and help prevent littering. Keep Mississippi clean and pick it up.
It used to be about black and white.
Things are different now. We live in a world of color.
We no longer live in a world of black and white.
I
am more than the color of my skin.
Welcome back to Take 30 News. So Nikki, did you hear where game day was going to be next weekend?
They're actually holding it what's probably going to be the biggest game of the season and could determine who's going to the SEC champion. But I'll tell you all more about that at Take 30 Sports. Welcome back to Take 30. I'm Nikki Ariana with all the news from World of Sports. The Alabama Crimson Tide took on rival LSU Tigers in Death Valley. It was a close game between the two teams until the fourth quarter when the Tigers were up 13-10. The Crimson Tide was able to make it into field goal position at the 27-yard line with 3 seconds left on the clock. Adam Griffith, the Alabama kicker, made the field goal, sending the game into overtime. Alabama defeated the Tigers in overtime 20-13 for the fourth consecutive time. This weekend was Mississippi State's homecoming game against UT Martin. While the Bulldogs took on the Skyhawks, the announcement of the homecoming queen wasn't the only guest at Davis-Wade Stadium. Former MSU quarterback Dylan Favre played for the Skyhawks against the Bulldogs. Favre is the nephew of former pro NFL star Brett Favre, who played with the Bulldogs in 2011.
Oh, it was pretty fun. I wasn't actually here. I just heard kind of legendary stories, how he was Johnny Manziel before Johnny Manziel. But it was really fun. It was interesting because he was talking to us and we were talking to him, so it was fun.
Favre only played for 2 quarters and lost to the Bulldogs 45-16. The Bulldogs are going to put their focus on taking the number 4 Alabama Crimson Tide, which could be a big factor in who will go to the SEC championship, taking on the number 1 team in the SEC East. This week's College Game Day is headed to Tuscaloosa as the Crimson Tide hosts the game with the number 1 team in the nation, the Mississippi State Bulldogs. The result of Saturday's game will have a major impact on both teams' rankings in the SEC West, college football polls, and playoff standings. The Crimson Tide is 8-1 and the Bulldogs have an undefeated record of 9-0. Who will be the leading power team for the SEC West after this week? We'll find out this Saturday at 2:30 p.m. Number 3 ranked Auburn Tigers were taken down by the unranked Texas A&M Aggies, making it the biggest upset this week in college football. The Aggies' usual starting quarterback, Kenny Hill, was suspended for unknown reasons, allowing their second-string quarterback, Kyle Allen, to step up against the Tigers. Allen threw 4 touchdown passes for his first career start in the SEC. He made 19 completions out of 29 attempts for 277 yards. The final score was 41-38. The University of North Carolina is being sued for an academic scandal that granted student athletes eligibility to play sports by taking classes they never had in-class meetings. Mike McAdoo lost his eligibility in 2011 when he was accused of plagiarism in his writing class that required students to only complete 1 paper for an overall class grade. He's suing the university for breaking its promise to provide an education while playing sports. McAdoo is one out of 31,000 student athletes who've called lawsuit against UNC and distribution of fake classes. Well, that's all for the world of sports today. Coming up, Nia Sharp will be speaking with Martha Shoemaker on the education of relationships.
Based on recent survey, Mississippi is ranked 3rd as worst state when it comes to littering.
Hey!
It is up to you to make a difference.
Seriously, the trash can's right there. How do you miss that anyway?
Do what's right and help prevent littering. Keep Mississippi clean and pick it up.
It used to be about black and white.
Things are different now. We live in a world of color.
We no longer live in a world of black and white.
I
am more than the color of my skin.
Welcome back to Take 30 News. I'm Nia Short here with marriage educator Mrs. Martha Shoemaker. Mrs. Shoemaker, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, you're welcome.
Can you tell me a little bit about what it's like being a marriage educator?
Well, being a marriage educator is very rewarding due to the opportunity to be able to provide marriage couples with different skills that they can use to improve, not just use those skills to improve their marriage.
Okay. What or who inspired you to become a marriage educator?
Well, what kind of inspired me to take on this job was I very involved in the marriage ministry at my church, and one year a guy came to do the workshop, and the information that he provided to us, it was very interesting about those 8 habits of successful marriage. So that kind of made me want to look more into it, and so that's when I saw that opportunity came, I definitely wanted to explore that career.
Okay. You mentioned earlier about the 3 C's. Can you explain that to us again? Okay,
when we're talking about the 8 habits of successful marriage, we're looking at more towards when we do the workshops with our marriage couples, we're looking at those 3 C's and providing them with the character education that they need, that high trust character, to develop that foundation in that marriage. And also when we that second C is the communication. When we provide the marriage couples with the tools that they need to have that effective communication, learning how to communicate with each other, to value those conversations, and also we're looking at that last C, when it's companionship. And it's the unselfish companionship when you're looking at a marriage couple where it's not just me, but it's 2 involved, and you're looking at, you're helping your partner because you're valuing what's important to them. So you're helping yourself by helping others. So you got the character, you got the communication, and also you got the companionship. And that makes up that 8 habits of successful relationship or marriage.
Okay. What is the one thing you often encourage marriage couples to do with each other?
taking that time for each other. You know, when you're married, it's a lot involved, but having that hour of power, what we call, maybe taking 2 or 3 hours out within a week or so, and that time for the couples to have, not talking about the kids, not talking about the job, but focusing on themselves and what can they do to better the relationship, or maybe some past thing that may have happened and how we can work on improving this and keeping this from happening again. But that power hour to work with each other to improve that relationship.
Okay. Unfortunately, we're out of time today, but thank you so much for joining us. Is there any information that people can contact you at?
They can reach me at 615-0033, and that's with our Family Center program, and they're interested and want us to provide them with a workshop and come to their area. Okay. I'm here in Tippahawk County and also in Winston County.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you so much. Up next, Savannah White will have more details on Wayne's Brady depressions.
Based on recent survey, Mississippi is ranked 3rd as worst state when it comes to littering.
Hey!
It is up to you to make a difference.
Seriously, the trash can's right there. How do you miss that anyway?
Do what's right and help prevent littering. Keep Mississippi clean and pick it up.
It used to be about black and white.
Things are different now. We live in a world of color.
We no longer live in a world of black and white.
I
am more than the color of my skin.
Thanks for coming back to Take 30 News. I'm Savannah White. For today's entertainment. On Friday, coroners in Marin County, California, ruled the death of actor and comedian Robin Williams as a suicide. Williams, 63, was found dead in his California home back in August. The report shows there were no alcohol or illegal drugs involved in the incident, but prescription drugs were found. It is believed that Williams used a belt to hang himself from a bedroom door. Williams' wife said in a statement that he was struggling with depression, anxiety, and early stages of Parkinson's disease. Wayne Brady, star of show Whose Line Is It Anyway, opened up to Entertainment Tonight about his debilitating depression. He talked about how he has secretly battled with depression for years and explained the horrid emotions. He said, quote, "You're like, I am just going to sit right here and want to wallow in this. As much as it hurts, I'm just going to sit right here because this is what I deserve. So I'm going to sit here because I deserve that I am that horrible." End quote. The tragic death of Robin Williams, comedian, really hit him hard after he committed suicide. Last Monday, Taylor Swift removed all of her albums from Spotify, leaving fans upset. Many thought she simply wanted to boost her album sales. This past Thursday, Swift openly explained her reasoning, quote, "I'm not willing to contribute my life's work to an experiment that I don't feel fairly compensates the writers, producers, artists, and creators of this music." End quote. Swift's newest album sold 1.2 million copies in its first week, the highest total record sold for an artist in a single week in 12 years. On Saturday night, not only did Mississippi State take on UT Martin, but they also hosted their 2014 homecoming. On Saturday, senior psychology and political science pre-law double major Katie McCummins of Long Beach, Mississippi, reigned as Mississippi State University's 2014 homecoming queen. She and the 8 homecoming maids were presented on Scott Field during the game during halftime.
This has been a whirlwind of a day, but I'm honored. This is wonderful.
McCummins walked across Scott Field in a white dress and kneeled to be crowned in front of the fans and students of Mississippi State. Mr. and Mrs. MSU were also on the field, and they accepted plaques acknowledging them as Mr. and Mrs. MSU. For more information on the homecoming court, visit www.thestudentassociation.com. The homecoming game also brought the Bulldogs to 9-0, continuing their undefeated streak as they get ready to play number 4 team in Alabama in Tuscaloosa this weekend. One of the most popular animation films has announced another installment in its series. With Toy Story set to come back for the 4th time, original film director John Lasseter does not want fans to worry about harming the story allure with more sequels and stated, quote, "We love these characters so much. They are like family to us. We don't want anything to do with them unless it lives up or surpasses what's gone before," end quote. Toy Story 4 is set to be released June 17th, 2017. Well, that's all I have for your entertainment, but don't go anywhere because more news is up next. You're watching Take 30 News.
Based on recent survey, Mississippi is ranked 3rd as worst state when it comes to littering.
Hey!
It is up to you to make a difference.
Seriously, the trash can's right there. How do you miss that anyway?
Do what's right and help prevent littering. Keep Mississippi clean and pick it up.
It used to be about black and white.
Things are different now. We live in a world of color.
We no longer live in a world of black and white.
I
am more than the color of my skin.
Welcome back. Monday morning, bus driver Doris Hobson ran her bus into a fence in a yard as she was having a heart attack. Hobson had only 5 students on the bus whom were reported as not injured. The students ran to the door of a house to receive help. The homeowner called 911 as her son ran to the bus to check on Hobson. He turned the engine of the bus off and checked for her pulse as an emergency team made its way to the scene. They transported Doris Hobson to the Methodist North Hospital where she was later pronounced dead.
A Michigan 2-year-old has been found after being lost in the deep woods for 22 hours. Brooklyn Lynn Lilly was outside playing when she wandered off into the woods. Her family and neighbors immediately began searching for her as they feared that maybe someone had kidnapped the toddler. A team of state troopers, deputies, and firefighters helped with the search. Riding on ATVs and helicopters until a storm threatened to put a halt in their efforts. Trooper Dennis McLaughlin and Jax, his canine, found her not moving. She then lifted her head and smiled. Fire Chief Jeffrey Seyfried asked her to take a picture, and she smiled big and said, quote, "I love the woods," end quote. As Starkville receives national attention for football, some surrounding towns are receiving attention from the Discovery Channel. Columbus, Aberdeen, and Tupelo will be featured in an upcoming TV special, The Best of Mississippi. Film crews are expected to be in the area during the next few weeks. The Discovery Special is set to air on Christmas Day, and out of the 3 cities, Aberdeen will be named the best port city of Mississippi. Mississippi State provided a safe trick-or-treating alternative for parents to take their children to.
University professors and community members alike were given the opportunity to provide their children with the safe and plentiful trick-or-treating experience before Halloween. The sororities on MSU's campus invited children to trick-or-treat at their doors.
It's just been really cool this year. We've been doing this for 7 years now, all the sororities. And here in South Alabama, our house moms specifically helped with this and to coordinate this event. As VP Foundation, I really want to do it as well. But all the girls donate candy here for the children in the Starkville area. Anyone from the university, teachers, professors bring their children, anyone from the Starkville community, they just come. It's a family fun environment and it's friendly for kids. And it's in the daylight, so you don't have to worry about your kids anytime.
Sorority members dressed up in costumes and passed out candy to the children on their front porches. The evening provided a safe and fun trick-or-treating alternative to the families who may live in a rural environment or those who may not live in a neighborhood with a well-lit trick-or-treating environment.
Good choice. Having so much fun at this event that Mr. States provided, and it is really good for the kids, and it's safe, and it's not too scary.
After community children trick-or-treated up and down Sorority Row at all of the Greek homes, there was a family-friendly fall festival in the Junction where children could play carnival games to win candy and prizes. Student organizations and clubs from all over MSU's campus sponsored each of the different game stations.
It's a great opportunity, great weather, safe environment for the kids to run around and play. They're in the grass, and it's so great to just see their costumes and see how happy they are.
Favorite costumes charming Sorority Row were a ninja, a giraffe, Tiger Woods, and the UPS man.
Last week, Starbucks CEO Howard Schultz announced that the popular coffee shop would have a delivery service option in the later half of 2015. The service will be provided in selected markets to customers enrolled in the loyalty program. Along with the delivery service, customers in certain markets will have access to an app that will allow them to order and pay for the coffee before they arrive to pick up their beverage. After Starbucks' fourth quarter sales were less than pleasing, the company's executives are working to make the business more convenient. Schultz told CNN, quote, "Imagine the ability to create a standing order of Starbucks delivered hot to your desk daily. That's our version of e-commerce on steroids," end quote.
Many companies within the food and beverage industry have been creating products with rather interesting flavors. Recently, the Mountain Dew industry invited a group of students to taste the new Dorito flavored soda. While most of the soda consumers stated that they were repulsed by the flavor, the Dorito and Mountain Dew industry told USA Today that they believe the drink duo will be a hit, stating, quote, "This just combines the two into a convenient delivery system for caffeine, sugar, and fake cheese," end quote. As of right now, Mountain Dew has not confirmed whether the drink will reach the shelves or not. Well, that's all we have for you today on Take 30 News. Remember to watch us right here every Monday and Wednesday at 4 p.m. I'm Kelsey Jones.
And I'm Heather Black. Make sure to tune in next time. Thanks for watching.